Hey, welcome back to Dating Diaries, the couples Bible study. I am your host, Lachey Johnson. Actually, I'm not a host. This is just my channel, y'all. This is now week 4. My guy and I, we have been going through a couples Bible study. And for those who have been journeying along with us, thank you so much. I'm very much encouraged by those that are commenting and sharing and asking questions for those that see me in person and or just know me. I've been dating now for almost a year, exclusively almost for a year. And dating just simply means that you're collecting the data. And one of the things that me and my guy have been committing to and recommitting to and readdressing and revisiting is that our foundation, the thing that brought us together, was our love for the Lord, our love for his word, our love for his church, our love for serving the community. And it was the thing that just attracted us. And, like most people, you start dating and things start drifting. And so over the summer, he and I had a conversation and we kind of like hit a reset button by evaluating different areas of our lives, of our relationship, and what was important to us. And we both agreed that we had let this part of our relationship kind of dwindle to maybe like a 4 or a 5, meaning we were getting up in the morning praying together. We were fasting once a week together. We were reading the same Bible study and Devos together. And then it just kind of like it slowed down a little bit. We were still obviously serving our churches, serving our communities. I'm in full-time ministry. He's on the worship team. He helps to lead this basketball league that helps to evangelize to unsaved men. So we were still doing the thing, but as a couple, we had kind of slid back a little bit where we weren't as committed. And so this is what we're doing. Over the last several weeks, we have been sharing, or I've been sharing on our behalf, because he's a little shy when it comes to where we are in the Bible and studying. So overall, for those that are new and for those who are returning, our couples Bible study is 8 weeks. We are now finishing up the 4th week as of yesterday, which I should have shared the video, but I didn't, so forgive me. And we're starting week 5 today. And the overarching theme of it is building in wisdom, discovering God's design for us together. And the purpose is to help dating couples like ourselves to grow spiritually, emotionally, relationally, while also discerning if our relationship is aligned with God and the purpose of our lives. And so week 1 was all about foundation. Week 2 was about identity. Week 3 was about communication. And this week was about boundaries, protecting what God is building. And so if you haven't had a chance to go back, I really want to encourage you to go back and hear a little bit of the updates for week 1, 2, and 3, because they are building blocks where he and I are discerning because of the call that's on his life, the call that's on my life. Are they aligned in a way that we are to come together as a couple, or are we trying to put a square peg in a round hole, which I shared on last week? And even so, recently, the question of our calling is like, are we together because you are adding value to what I am called to? And am I adding value to what you are called to? So it's more than oh, you're my guy, you're my girl, whatever. It's like, nope, this is much bigger. This is kingdom's agenda. And so the 2 foundational scriptures that we had for this week, one was 1 Thessalonians 4, 3 through 5. And I'm reading from the CSB version. It says, "For this is God's will, your sanctification, that you keep away from sexual immorality, that each of you knows how to control his own body in holiness and honor, and not with lustful passions like the Gentiles who don't know God." And then in Proverbs 4, 23, it says, "Guard your heart above all else, for it's the source of life." And the theme this week was boundaries, honoring God, and protecting our love. And so the focus is healthy limits and creating freedom and clarity as we are growing as a couple. And so I'm not here to be the police of how people are engaging, but I do know that, when you are dating and you start to find yourself more and more attractive to this person, you are prone to finding yourself in situations, hopefully not, but if you are, that is going to create where it's like, okay, we got to have a boundary here, because if we choose, excuse me, to engage in ways that are going to complicate our call, our love, our witness to Christ, then it's going to make it a lot harder. And so some of the questions that we talked through were, do we have clear emotional, spiritual, and physical boundaries? And emotionally, I've shared over the last couple of weeks, and actually as of yesterday, I asked him, I was like, do you trust me? And like, there was no question about it. He does trust me. And he responded like, yes, I do trust you. And that's a huge thing, because trust is something that is earned. And so in are engaging with one another, because the other thing that I've shared is that we live in the same state, but we do not get to see each other often, like maybe twice a week, which is actually helping helping us to keep the necessary boundaries that we need, and also creating the space for what God has called both of us to do. I have two children, he has two children. My children are young adults, his children are young. He works two jobs and he has a business. Our lives are very, very full. And I think that God knew what he was doing when he brought the two of us together, because this is an area where many do struggle in. Let's just keep it real. And so emotionally, I think that we have grown very close through conversation, very deep conversations. I have certainly, and if you go back to week 3, you'll see where I've even grown more to having what I would normally run away from, kind of conversations, because of my previous relationships. Sometimes there are things that will come up and I'm like, "Ooh, I thought that was actually healed." And then I realized that it had not been healed. But one of the beautiful things that I love about my guy is that very early on, he expressed and said his shoulders are broad enough to carry what I've been through, even though he's not the one that has caused it. So emotionally, I feel safe with him. He feels safe with me. We are checking in with each other because, again, we are humans. Things happen. We've had hurts in the past. And as of last night, I was watching a TV show. I'm going to tell on myself, as I always do. And there was a conversation that was happening with a bunch of girlfriends, and there was a trigger. And then all of a sudden, I started texting him. And then he responded and he said, "Hey, what's going on? What are you feeling? Why are you feeling this?" And I was honest in saying I was watching this TV show. These ladies were having a conversation about something that we both have experienced. It triggered me, and I just needed a little bit of reassurance. Well, not only did he reassure me, but he also, as I love, he also leaned in by providing correction and or consideration of what I'm watching that created that, right? And so he also reminded us that during our Bible study, the fasting discipline is also the piece that we need to be equally doing. And so he has been doing his own fast, and then I have been intermittently fasting. But one of the things that I felt came out of that conversation was that if I'm watching TV shows, that during this time of us trying to draw close to the Lord and resetting our relationship foundationally through God's witness to us, then I do need to be considering how I am spending my time. So it wasn't easy for me to hear, but it was necessary for me to hear, and I also did receive it. So emotionally and spiritually, we are definitely very clear about where our commitment is at, our devotional time, getting up, reading, praying. For me, I'm exercising that muscle of fasting. For him, it is a non-negotiable. His discipline of fasting is just much stronger than mine is. When it comes to the physical boundaries, do we hold hands? Absolutely. He gives the greatest hugs. Like, everything in my body just feels like it calms itself down. And I'm so grateful for that. So, but physically, I think, we are very conscious about what can put us in situations that can create a dynamic that we don't want. Listen, let's be honest. When you want the will of God, you want to do it his way. Now, we are sinners that are saved by grace. And what I will say to you is that we make every effort to not put ourselves in situations that's going to create a dynamic that makes us feel that we are less close to God, even though God doesn't change his mind about us. But when you are dating, you need to have those physical boundaries as well as the spiritual and the emotional. The other question that we talked through were, where might temptation or compromise creep in? I just said it. If you put yourself in a situation where temptation is going to rise, we are in these fleshly bodies. Okay, let's be clear. We're in these human bodies, and we are born in sin, shaped in iniquity, and because we have already had parts of our physical nature awakened from previous relationships. Let's be clear and honest about that. It's natural that it's going to happen. And so we are very conscious of trying to keep ourselves in safe places, which is why I also think God knew that, us not having a lot of time to be together also helps to keep us protected in that way. The third question is, how do we support each other's purity and our peace? We're honest. We're having conversations. He's a man, I'm a woman. I've been in situations where, I've had children outside of marriage. I've been cheated on, and there were times where I didn't have the value of who I was in Christ Jesus. And so I lessened that by staying in a relationship, and also feeling that I needed to be physical with that person in order to keep their attention. All of that was wrong. And so trying to do it God's way, our reflection is, what boundaries do I need to strengthen for God's glory and not to feel guilty? Again, we are sinners that are saved by grace. Nothing changes who we are through the view of Christ Jesus, but it does lessen the impact of how he wants to use us. There is no condemnation, but when the conviction comes, it's because we realize we're doing something that is not in the plan and the will and the best for us individually and also as a couple. And so our application challenge for this week was to create a relationship values statement that outlines our shared boundaries and also our intentions. And I'm going to close out this update by reading this shared, it's a draft, okay? It's a draft value statement for us as a couple. Christ is the foundation of our relationship. We commit to honor God individually and together, allowing his word, his wisdom, and his spirit to guide our decisions, our interactions, and the direction of our future. We seek to love one another with the love of Christ in the way that he has shown us, sacrificially, patiently, compassionately, and rooted in grace. We commit to honest, open, and respectful communication. We will speak truth with love, listen with intention, and pursue understanding over assumption. We agree to address concerns with humility, seek resolution with maturity, and prioritize peace over pride. Our words will build, not break. They will heal and not harm. We honor emotional and personal integrity. We choose honesty in our thoughts, actions, and intentions. We will operate with transparency, accountability, and trust, knowing that integrity strengthens our bond and guards our connection. We commit to nurturing our relationship through intentional time. We value time alone, recognizing the need for rest, reflection, and personal growth. We value time together, investing in shared experiences, quality connections, laughter, prayer, and intimacy that deepens our love. We value time with our families, honoring the people who shaped us and welcoming the blending of our lives with wisdom, love, and boundaries that protect our union. We choose unity, partnership, and purpose. We agree to work together, make decisions together, and support each other's callings, dreams, and responsibilities. We stand as a team, encouraging, uplifting, and strengthening one another as we walk out God's purpose for our relationship. We commit to revisit this value statement regularly as we grow, as we evolve, and move through new seasons. We will return to these shared values to ensure we remain aligned spiritually, emotionally, and relationally. We agree that this statement is a living commitment that reflects our love, our priorities, and our dedication to a Christ centered relationship. This is the update for week 4 of Couples Diaries, the Dating Diaries Couples Bible Study, where me and my guy are taking 8 weeks of spending time walking through areas that we both agree are areas that we need to address and revisit and ensure that we are anchored in the very thing that brought us together. We will start week 5 actually today, and I will come back next week with an update of week 5. So if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, I want to encourage me. It encourages me to see that what I'm sharing very transparently, very vulnerably, is impacting at least one person, possibly one other couple. This channel is primarily about me living my life out loud as a believer, as a woman of Christ. And there will be times where I will share things about he and I in our development in our dating. So subscribe, stay connected, turn on your notifications. If this content is something that you like, then let me know by giving me a thumbs up. And if you are really enjoying it and you haven't shared it with someone else, please consider sharing it with someone else and let them share it with someone else, because that does encourage me to continue to share in the way that God is inviting me to. Now, let me be clear. I understand my why for being in this space on YouTube. I understand my why for being in the space of my Instagram, which is Lachey M. Johnson. I understand my why for being on Facebook. I understand my why of sharing in social spaces. I feel called to share my life in some kind of way to encourage at least one person or one couple live the life that God said was theirs to live. So stay connected. I will be back next week with an update of week 5. This is Dating Diaries, and it is the Couples Bible Study edition.